to mention it, but since it came up, Joanne Citula, 500 Bay Avenue, the concern about the employee parking for the restaurants, there are many, Friday nights you come, Saturday nights, and you do have to walk as a patron to the restaurants. My concern, and I just wanted to mention it, my concern is for the employees. My daughter is 23 years old, she works at a local restaurant, and I don't have a solution, but it's just a concern. Number one, if they have to be at work at 5:30, where do they park, how do they get there? You're saying Railroad Avenue, so depending on where they haven't determined that yet. I know that they talked about possible shuttles, there's a lot of things that I've read, a lot of discussion, but that's why I figured let me just bring up the concern now. As a parent and as a friend of many people who do work in restaurants. So the safety is, like during the week, I know, for example, my daughter is walked to her car either by a security person or one of the owners. And we're talking at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. What happens to those employees on a Friday or Saturday night who have to get to work, it's pouring, it's raining, whatever the case may be, how are they gonna get there on time in a timely manner? And then the other alternative is everybody gets off at different times. So who's gonna get them safely to their vehicles, especially the young girls, even the guys too, because you never know, things happen in the restaurants, alcohol comes into play. So I just wanted to mention that now as a concern. I don't have a suggestion, but it's a concern.
Just so you know, that's been a very big part of the conversation we've had.
Right.
It's exactly those issues. And that's why nothing can push forward, saying this has to be done. That until everybody comes up with a comfortable way to do it,
Right.
nothing will be done.
Right, I know like the suggestion of like trolleys and this, that, and the other thing, but it's like what patron wants to park here and then have to take a trolley or a shuttle? Although it could be a good thing because they could start at the beginning of the village and then head their way east and so on and so forth. So I mean, I know it's in the discussion, but one of the things, I read a lot of things that have been online, and I know the restaurant owners are concerned about the parking, but I haven't read about safety being a concern for those. And I mentioned because we visit a lot of the different restaurants in the village, and I talked to some of the, the people that work there. Are you aware of what the discussions are? And many of the employees are actually not aware. I know the owners are, but the employees are not.
Well,
so, and that's something to be discussed
I appreciate the way we look at it is that, and then you should call the Chamber of Commerce.
No, I know. I emailed
Mr.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
I never got heard back.
Employee parking, we're working with the Chamber.
Yes.
We believe that it is a Chamber of Commerce issue, that they should be the ones who are solving this problem. We provide the parking spaces, and we've offered them the Patchogue train station. We've offered them all a number of different locations where they can have this program. And what happens is that I was talking to one of the restaurant owners, they figure about 400 to 500 spaces in the village are taken up by employees. So you have 400 or 500 spaces by employees, and you have the restaurant goers. We've talked to the Chamber and we've been pressing them to come up with a reliable plan so people can go safely through their parking. Now, again, I repeat this all the time. I worked at Sweezy's as a teenager. And I worked at the gift corner, which is now O'Neill's. I was the designated walker to bring the ladies out to their car at night. The stores had that. They provided a person there to walk them. And my feeling is, and I think the mayor's feeling is that the businesses themselves should provide this kind of service for their employees to keep their employees safe.
Well, they do now, but if they have to get them to a shuttle, how are they supposed to, and everybody's hours are staggered?
There's going to be a committee
put
together between store owners. I'm going to be on that committee to discuss that, because we've offered, as I said, we've offered locations for them to do this. It's up to them to implement this plan.
And is there actual data that says there's 400 and 500? What data, what numbers do we have?
That's an estimate, because the restaurant that I spoke to, they said that they had about 25 to 30 people on a Friday night.
Right.
There's just that many people, and you just multiply it by how many restaurants are in town.
Right, sure.
And just kitchen staff alone, and wait staff, kitchen staff,
We're opening up almost 10 more restaurants in the near future, so.
That's right. So they're going to have to they're gonna have to solve this problem,
Mhm.
because it's basically their employees. We can't enforce employee parking.
Right,
You know, they're gonna, and I'll tell you a story, when I worked at Sweezy's, one time I came in late, I parked in the Lake Street parking lot. Within 15 minutes, the security guy came up to me and said, you're gonna have to move your car. Because they don't want you to park that close, number one, for the customer, number two, for security reasons. But that issue is, you know, the village is providing them locations, they have to come up with it.
You know, one of the things too is that we haven't had those discussions, we should be the employer, with the people working, to assure what the plan can be. Because, you know, you open this up to a general, that kind of discussion. As it is, with the 20 restaurants we have 20 different ideas. You know, you add a whole bunch of people, you know, restaurants, everybody's, but nothing will be done until there's security involved,
okay.
there's the ability to make sure everybody's safe, going back and forth, I think, you know.
And that's the concern, it's just the safety.
Yeah, it really, that's why it's not a simple answer,
Right, I see that.
you know. The thing about it is we've done what we can do in terms of purchasing properties. Just so you know, we're probably now into the almost $750,000 worth of both properties and parking lots. And we haven't made that much meter money because the people will get it. But there are plans to acquire more properties. And that meter money, and we've said any number of times here, the only thing it goes to employing. It doesn't go back into the general fund. Because of the general fund is then segregated that, it's booked differently for that use specifically. So I say that any number of times so people don't think we're using it to balance, you know, using it for what it's intended for.
Thank you.
Anything else? Now a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
In favor?